Good evening, everyone. I would like to call tonight's meeting of the Tacoma Park City Council to order. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Mayor Searcy,
Here.
Councilmember Fulcher,
Present.
Councilmember DeBala,
Here.
Councilmember Gibson is on Zoom.
Somewhere.
Councilmember Siemens,
Present?
Councilmember Honzak,
Present.
Councilmember Small.
Yes, y'all.
All right. Thank you all so much this evening for bearing with us as we're a few minutes behind. The council met before this meeting at 6:30 for an administrative function to discuss the city manager's evaluation. So for this evening, there's been no changes to the agenda. Tonight, we will be voting on a number of things. The second reading ordinance approving the FY25 budget amendment number 1. Second reading ordinance approving the FY25 budget amendment, I hope that's on here. Stormwater budget amendment number 1. Second reading ordinance regarding the 2024 city election. The resolution on the prevention of nuclear war, back from the brink. The FY26 budget policy resolution, and the resolution setting forth dates for the council summer recess. The council will actually be on recess from August the 7th through September the 2nd, and will be returning on September the 4th. And so with that, want to check to see if we have any public comments on voting items this evening.
Ward 1. What? Okay, I don't want to lose any time. So I'm here to speak to the Back from the Brink resolution, but before I do that, I'm not sure how many of you are rerunning for your seats next year, but I did want to just give you my thanks for your hard work this past year. I know it's not always easy, especially with us up here badgering you on a regular basis, so thank you so much, and a particular shout out to Randy, who's not here, and Jason for your supportive remarks around the Nuclear Free Committee and this issue, and thank you for your vote, Jason. It was much appreciated, and also for understanding that what happens in Tacoma Park is deeply connected to what goes on in the rest of the world. To the resolution, thank you for doing it. I do need to point out, though, that there is a mistake in the first whereas. We were not the first city to become a nuclear-free zone in the US. That honor goes to Missoula, Montana, 5 years actually before us. And also Garrett Park was ahead of Tacoma Park. So we don't want to tick off our neighbors. So I do think it would be a good idea to correct that. And please let Back from the Brink know that you've passed this resolution so that they can add you to the city list, which would be very good to see. In thinking about where you might put this resolution publicly, I did notice on the city website that there's really no recognition of Tacoma Park as a nuclear-free zone. I couldn't find anything anywhere. It's not in the About section in the history, which would be a really good place to put it. So I do think, since you have delegated the city staff now to take on the task of the former Nuclear-Free Tacoma Park Committee, it would be a great idea to set up a web page. You've got a great logo, which is on all the entrances to the city, saying that we're a nuclear-free zone. You can put this resolution up there. You should put the ordinance up there, because at this point, it's up for all of us as citizens of Tacoma Park to ensure that you adhere to it, since there is no committee tasked with that job anymore. And of course, you could celebrate some of your past achievements, like being the first city, you were the first city to declare compliance with the Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons. So it does I sense from the resolution that you are proud of being a nuclear-free zone, a bit too proud, since we weren't the first, but let's celebrate that in a much more public way now by putting it on the city website, so everybody in the city can continue to know that we are a nuclear-free zone and can see the history of how we got there, and can continue to follow other things that I hope you will continue to do to mark that status. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Do we have any other comments on voting items this evening? Come on down.
Julie Bodie, Ward 1. I wanted to comment on the first whereas. As the first municipality in the city to become a nuclear-free zone, and this part prohibits municipal investments in industries and institutions which are knowingly and intentionally engaged in the production of nuclear weapons. Now, I haven't followed the progress of things for quite a long time, and so most of all, I want to ask you all a question. What's been done? What's the city done to align with this statement in the resolution? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Do we have any other public comments on voting items this evening? Do we have any virtual public comments? Okay.
Have a public comment, but it's not related to what yours.
Well, come on down, sir, because we're going to move on to the general public comments.
Yeah, general public. comment,
Yep,
that's
come
fine.
on down.
Well, good evening, everyone. I live in Parkview Towers, Maple, on Maple Avenue, 7667. And basically, especially the last, probably beginning of this year, we formed a tenants association, you know, so they've been working with us in terms of the management, you know, and on things like that. But one major problem that we have is the construction. As you can see on Parkview Towers, there's a fence, you know, basically over there that because the construction has not been done for about 7 years. You know, it's been a long time. But fortunately, they just basically let us know that from December, you know, they're going to start construction on that, which is fine. But so for every year, the past 7 years that they have neglected the construction, we went ahead and paid their rent increases. You know, we went ahead and paid that. And some of us feel unsafe because of the construction undone. And due to all those circumstances, the Tenants Association, we have decided that coming up probably within a few weeks or a month or so, around sometime every year around this time, they increase the rent. You know, so we know that rent increases are coming up. And last year, they increased it 5.8%, which was just too high, you know, for most of us. And, you know, based on our meeting that we just held, that we decided that if they increase the rents this time, we are going to file a complaint with the housing department, basically, and that we are not going to, you know, abide by that with the, you know, of course, the complaint, and also that we're going to put the part of the increase in an escrow, you know, based on that. So that is what we have decided to do. And we just feel basically that all these 7 years, you know, we feel like they've taken advantage of us, you know, by not, and then still paying. So our motive is to, you know, not pay any rent increase until the construction is done. So that's what we're looking at. So I just wanted to make sure that you know, the council is aware of that situation ongoing with us. Basically, that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you very much, and it certainly sounds like your neighbors have voted the right person in as the president of the Tenant Association.
I'm the president of the Tenant Association.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I forgot.
They
to
did
say
a good
that.
job picking you.
Thank you. Yeah. To you. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Do we have any other general public comments this evening?
Yes.
We're still doing comments in the room. We'll go to our Zoom participants shortly.
Thank My name is Jacqueline Moore, and I live in Ward 2. I would like a status update on the mayor and council's promise to work on establishing consequences for conduct unbecoming of elected city officials and staff. The ethics language in the city's municipal code is meaningless unless there are consequences for inappropriate actions. As a reminder, an acquaintance of mine received a disturbing text message from the Ward 6 council member on Thursday, February 29th, 2024, in response to my February 28th, 2024 council comments. For those who missed my comments, I requested that the mayor and council add language to the city's municipal code that defines professionalism and provides remedies for elected officials and staff who choose not to conduct themselves in a professional manner. The content of the text, which you have and which is part of the public record, is one more example of trying to discourage public participation and doing the opposite of the city council's stated priority of a commitment to being a welcoming and inclusive community where all residents experience a sense of belonging. As you are also aware, Councilmember Small followed up with another text to the same acquaintance stating that he felt that he needed to get a gun. I have watched you all issue statements and wear orange ribbons in June in recognition of the Brady campaign's Gun Violence Awareness Month. Again, this is all meaningless unless you back up your words and ribbon wearing with action to ensure that all elected officials and staff conduct themselves in a professional manner. If you all choose not to change the language in the municipal code to include clear definitions of and consequences for unprofessional behavior, you all will continue to look foolish and ineffective. Again, the brush of unprofessionalism has painted and tainted all of you. How can any resident take you seriously if you allow one council member to go so far out of bounds? The upcoming elections will not necessarily make the issues I've identified go away. Even if an entirely new group of people is elected, there's always the chance that someone will choose not to act in a professional manner. You can't wish this away and hope for the best. Please use at least some of your summer council recess time to do some meaningful work on this issue. And one last note, I do appreciate the verbal apology for Councilmember Small's actions that Mayor Searcy gave to me on March 10th, but we are way past words. It's time for action. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other general public comments this evening?
Tom Gagliardo, 107 Hodges Lane. Good evening, everybody. So in the past, I've raised questions of the purpose of the newsletter. I've reminded you that there's a unanimously adopted ordinance 1992-36 that sets forth the mission and the purpose of the newsletter, but nothing's changed. More recently, you've had a discussion with the City Housing Department about housing policy and objectives and so forth. And again, the issue's been raised. Have you notified the public? What is the interaction with the public? What is the opportunity for the public to participate in that discussion? I said there was nothing in the newsletter, and indeed now there have been 2 issues of the newsletter without any mention of the fact that this is going on, other than the very small type and the very crowded summary of council actions. There's nothing in the Inside Tacoma either. The newsletter, the email that is sent supposedly with more information than the city newsletter itself contains. So what I'm asking you tonight is to pass a resolution to amend the city charter to incorporate the provisions of Resolution 1992-36. As you know, the charter provides a process that allows the council by a majority vote passing a resolution as it would any other resolution to place this matter on the ballot. It can be advisory, it can be binding. It depends what your resolution says. There's a series of requirements with time limits. I calculated them. There's plenty of time before the November 5th election to put this question before the voters of Tacoma Park. And I won't reiterate everything that I've said in the past about what the resolution says, but here's the most important thing. The mission of the Tacoma Park newsletter is to inform the residents of the city about the activities of their local government, community, and neighbors. We see a lot about the activities of city departments. We see virtually nothing about those other things. It goes on, the resolution goes on to say the newsletter's goal is to enable and encourage residents to participate in their cities and community life. We have been deprived of that opportunity unless we exert the extra effort of coming down here. And I tell you, I don't come down here because I enjoy it. I really have other things I'd rather be doing. But I come down here because these issues are important. And the most important thing is to let the people know, all the people know, through the newsletter, what's going on. So please pass a resolution to place a charter amendment on the November 5th ballot, either advisory or binding, to adopt the terms of the 1992 unanimously adopted resolution. Thank you. I'm sure you're looking forward to, and I hope you enjoy your summer break.
Thank you. Do we have any other general public comments? Okay. Do we have any virtual comments this evening?
We have Mary Jane Machui on Zoom.
Great. Mary Jane?
Okay. Can you hear me?
We can hear you now, Mary Jane.
Thank you. Is it okay volume?
Yes, it's perfect volume.
Oh, thank you. Hello, everyone. Today is the last day of Disability Pride Month. It is also the 10th anniversary of Parents of Special Needs Adults, which I co-founded under the auspices of the Village of Tacoma Park. Yay, Village. Please don't forget us, especially those of us who are neurodiverse and lower income. My son is one of those, and I'm really concerned what's going to happen to him in a few years because I'm 76 years old and I won't be around that much longer. I'm really concerned about him and other neurodiverse people who are low income, and I don't know what's going to happen to them. And I'm really concerned. And thank you very much. And you all have a good summer.
Thank you very much, Mary Jane. Do we have any other public comments this evening? Great. All right. So we're going to move into council comments. Do we have any council comments this evening? Councilmember Small.
I defer.
Councilmember DeBala.
Hey, everybody. Couple things. First, thank you to city staff for taking care of 7611 Garland Avenue. I think the residents in that neighborhood are very happy to see that trash gone. I will be going tomorrow to the Maryland Municipal League Housing Symposium, and on Friday evening to Lunch and Learn graduation, and then I will be going on break. And before I go on break, I would like to let everyone know, in response to Ms. Gutner's question, that I will be seeking re-election, and I'm honored to have earned the trust of Ward 2 residents up until now, and I hope to pick that up in September. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember DeBala. I'm losing all my lights. Councilmember Small.
Yeah, I'll go. Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate it. We are approaching recess. It is about to be election season, and again, not unlike Councilmember DeBala, I am going to run again. There are any number of things that one could say about that, but the one thing that I would say to myself is why. Because no matter what things have been said to me or about me up here, there are factual things of really quite appalling conduct by any number of people toward me. And I feel like I've handled it with grace and aplomb. I've handled it like a highly educated black man who is used to be a lightning rod for people, someone who is concerned about Ward 6 apathy and institutional neglect, the use of funds from one area to oversaturate an abundance of goods in another area, and those kinds of things. I'm concerned about those things because I went to school to learn them, and I'm pretty good at them. I'm also good on my feet and with my words, and I don't really apologize for that. I will apologize for being drugged through any sort of rhetorical flourishes that were abjectly negative, because it's not my MO. As a matter of fact, they're probably the only person in this room who's an expert on civility, has written on it or any number of other things. And I'm probably the person in here that gets the most appalled by the amount of information that we get of past historical practices, the activities of people who come in here, and any other thing. Because I'm like, really, why would you do this? Like what would be the point of wasting your time doing these things? And so my answer is I'm running again because I care about civility. And the reason why I care about civility is because civility is created only by the boundless adherence to truth. You cannot have a civil society where you have a bunch of hypocrites. You cannot have a civil society where you have a agenda for people, where you get oversaturated with your desire to one-up somebody as opposed to doing the policy and the hard work of the job. Those are the things that I'm particularly good at. I don't think you would find anybody up here who would tell you otherwise. I think the people of Ward 6 have been well represented by any number of changes that have happened with regard to traffic, policy, and public safety. And we're going to keep doing it because we're going to make this place a fair place. And as we proceed into this election cycle, if anyone in Ward 6 would like to talk to me about oddly being maligned by other residents in other wards or anything else like that about the difficulties in this, I would tell you that you need to be prepared to have your weight up because people like me don't scare.
Councilmember Honzak.
Thank you. Let's see, just a few things. First, I wanted to say thank you to our city manager and the director of public works for really quick action. I ran through over a 1.5 hour lunch with the city manager, the things that I would like to see happen over the next 3 months and beyond, not being sure whether or not I was going to be able to run for office. And right away, I got a multitude of email follow-ups, and I just really, really appreciate your staff and you taking those kinds of actions. It's really helpful, and it makes our jobs feel like they're worthwhile. And I also would like to say thank you particularly to, I'm sorry I've forgotten your name, but the president of the Tenants Association from Parkview. I'm the one that we chatted on the phone, and I'm so delighted to see you here. I think I really applaud you for the action that you are thinking about taking. I also had the opportunity today to go over and see Lunch and Learn in action. I surprised them, so I apologize to Ms. Doris and Ms. Jackie for doing that, but they surprised me by just how beautiful things were on the ground. There were kids sang a song for me while I was there. I was particularly impressed, honestly, by the young leaders. They have about 89 students this year. They have a number of instructors that have come back every single year to work with them. And I don't know if folks know, but the city has provided Lunch and Learn with support over the years so that these kids can go to camp. Many of them live in Essex House and Hampshire Towers. And the young leaders were just such a neat group of young people. Some of them were teaching swimming lessons because Miss Jackie has taken them swimming every year, and now they are the ones putting the kids in the water and showing them how to do things. They're also working on the academic basics each day, and they had learned these wonderful songs today about vegetables, and it was really a delight to see. And I also, the week before, I don't remember if I mentioned it last week, so apologies if I'm repeating, but I got to see the camp that Terry and Joyce were helping to put together over across the creek from Ward 5, and in partnership with the police and the Adventist services. And that was also just a beautiful camp. The kids were interacting with the police. I think I did maybe mention this last week, but just as a reminder, it was just really beautiful to see these kinds of community initiatives taking place and our children and our families being served. And I believe we should just continue to do a lot more of this kind of work. And then finally, I just wanted to share that I have decided that I'm going to be running for office in November, and I thank you to everyone who has been supportive of me in this role. And I also want to say congratulations and thank you to everyone who has stepped up to run for office, because that in itself is a really big deal. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Honzak. Councilmember Gibson.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Mayor. First of all, to the public commenters, thanks to all of them. Good news, and thanks for the correction with regard to the resolution about back from the brink. I'm glad that we're moving ahead with that and with the corrections. I'm also pleased to note the kind of solidarity that the Tenant Association gentleman, the president, spoke of. That is to be commended and supported as much as possible. I also want to thank Mr. Gagliardo mentioning the newsletter. I do think the newsletter could be more and could do a better job. And with regard to its minimal coverage of the housing discussion, that's what I wanted to just to say a little bit more of. I am looking forward to a break, and we'll be traveling out of the country, so I won't be as accessible as I'd like to be. But during August, while people are hopefully having a great time with the summer activities, I will send out to my ward the housing framework and the 4 proposals that were put forward with housing and community development. These proposals and this framework deserves public attention, public action, and public dialogue. So I will do my best to make sure that that happens, even during the dog days of August. We'll do our best and then move it forward as we move into fall to again get the kind of robust public engagement that this city deserves. There are some fairly innovative, creative, interesting policy proposals that need to be discussed. And then in the framework, the housing framework, there are some priorities and some choices to be made. And I will, through the rest of my term, will do my best to make that happen. And this will be my last term. And I'll say more about that as I get to the end of the term. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Gibson. Councilmember Fulcher.
Thank you. I want to thank Maryland Senator Smith for meeting with me today. It seems like everyone that I talk to about the bigger problems that we're seeing in local and state issues, it's housing. It's not having enough housing. And I just also want to be clear that when I talk to people that know a lot about these things, it's not just about the affordable housing. It is about all housing. In Tacoma Park right now, we have a very finite amount of housing. And even if you live in a single family home, the value of that house is just going to continue to get bigger and bigger and bigger according to your tax assessment, according to what that market value of your house is. And we're all going to get priced out of our houses if we're not able to add substantially to what's available in Tacoma Park. And that was very much the conversation that I was having with Senator Smith today. I am also going to the MML Housing Symposium tomorrow so that I can learn more about what we can do as a city to engage with the legislation that our Maryland legislators passed this past spring, and I'm really excited about that. I want to thank the city manager's office and staff. There is going to be a stop sign installed at Grant and Maple Avenue. There was a huge push for that from residents. Crossing Maple Avenue, especially during school hours, can be really difficult, and a lot of kids are doing that crossing by themselves, and so I appreciate that that stop sign is going to get put in. I also, as everybody else is making it official, putting a ring on it tonight, I am also going to be running for re-election this fall. And then also a few different businesses and residents have reached out to me recently saying that they're unhappy to see more graffiti on Carroll Avenue in the old Tacoma Business Association. They have done the right thing. They've reached out to police and let them know that it's going on, but a lot of this is on private property. And so me and another resident or two are going to get together on starting at Girl on the Vine Saturday morning at 9:30 a.m. If anybody else would like to join us to scrub some graffiti off of dumpsters and various utility boxes, you're welcome to join us, and I will bring supplies. Thank you.
I'd like to say something about that, Mayor? Could I?
Councilmember Small, briefly.
Thank you. It is important to recognize that some of those things do happen because of where we live and our adjacency to people who are organized and disgruntled about the quality of life that we have and the lack of quality of life that they have. That is frontline stuff in Ward 6, and as it trickles across into your neighborhoods, I would appreciate your understanding of the fact that these issues have been omnipresent and of great concern to residents that you don't pay attention to. Thank you.
I also want to say that when I talked about this with my sons, my 7-year-old was very much not interested in removing the art that he sees in the city. So different people have different views on it for sure. So.
Thank you both. Want to thank all of the public comments this evening. Thank you for catching that typo in the resolution. Thank you very much. Because I worked on that thing late and I was editing and I was like, I thought this is what I read in our foundational resolutions, but I missed it. So thank you very much for catching that, and we'll make sure to move the resolution forward with that adjustment. I want to thank the tenants of Parkview Towers. I know that construction has been happening for a very, very, very long time in your building. And to be honest, the mobilization that you all have already shown by coming to this meeting today really, really, really is important to helping us, to help you with the leverage. When two forces are joined together, we can move mountains. So thank you so much for coming out today and advocating on behalf of the tenants in your building. I am committed to doing what I need to do to push the needle forward to make sure that you all are getting what you need in your building. And I know Councilmember Siemens has been doing a lot of work. So thank you so much for coming out. I also want to thank those that have brought up comments about the newsletter. We've heard that there's been some desire for there to be more communications and more news in the newsletter. So definitely appreciate folks that have come out today. I will be speaking at the Lunch and Learn Summer Program Parents Night. And that is on Friday. So I'm really looking forward to being able to participate in that event. Also, just as a reminder for folks, National Night Out is on Tuesday of next week. And given that the council will be on recess, I just want to make sure that folks know that I'll be there and I enjoy National Night Out. And I don't plan to get in the dunk tank, although I am looking at our city manager to see whether or not he has changed his mind about getting in the dunk tank. You know, it may happen. It may happen. Also, just as a reminder for my colleagues, I will be traveling next week to participate in the Mayor's Innovation Project summer meeting in Knoxville. So I'm excited about that. Also, given that everyone else has announced, I too plan to run for re-election. Not only am I a glutton for punishment, but I am committed to continuing to serve this great city, and sincerely hope that we can work together to be aspirational, to move a number of projects that have been going forward in this city for a really long time. And as I look around and I see all of the progress that we've made in such a short time with this council, I'm very grateful for all of you all, and definitely look forward to helping to continue to support the city. So just want to make sure that people know that I am running for re-election. And with that,
Mayor?
Yes, Councilmember
Excuse me,
Stevens.
thank you. I feel like you just threw the last ball to put me into the dunk tank. Since I had not yet said whether or not I am running for re-election this year, and I will let people think about that during August and be back in September to make my announcement. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Siemens. All right, so with that, we're going to get to a bit of work. Actually, I'm jumping the gun, moving straight to recess. We're going to move to city manager comments.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council, and our guests. Before I begin my report, I just want to touch on some follow-up information with respect to the question raised a little bit earlier about the nuclear resolution. The city continues to require all vendors it contracts with to submit a notarized non-involvement in the nuclear weapons industry certification and to abide by it during the duration of their engagement with the city. Additional information can be had if there's a desire to learn more about our policy and how it's implemented. Simply reach out to me. I'd be happy to try to provide some additional information for any member of the public or the mayor and council who would wish to know more about it. Okay. From the Finance Department. The Finance Department is pleased to announce that the city's annual comprehensive financial report for the fiscal year that just ended, June 30th, 2023, has, that would be fiscal year ended June 2024, has met the requirements to be awarded GFOA's Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting. The GFOA established the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting program in 1945 to encourage and assist state and local governments to go beyond the minimum requirements of generally accepted accounting principles to prepare annual comprehensive financial reports that evidence the spirit of transparency and full disclosure, and then to recognize individual governments that succeeded in achieving that goal. The Certificate of Achievement is the highest form of recognition in governmental accounting and financial reporting. I would say congratulations again to our finance team for having satisfied the high standards of this program. From Housing and Community Development. The Maryland Department of Housing and Community Development has awarded the city a Community Health and Safety Works grant in the amount of $92,250 under the Environmental Health and Justice category. The funds will be used to discourage illegal dumping, activate public green space, and improve treatment of stormwater runoff in the 6500 block of Sligo Mill Road. Neighbors in the Sligo Mill area have shown their investment in the success of this project from the very beginning stages. In his letter of support for the application, neighborhood resident Jeremy Schwartz said the following: "This is a fixable problem, and the City of Tacoma Park has developed a thoughtful and comprehensive proposal that is clearly based on community input. The proposed structural changes will significantly reduce illegal dumping and improve community health and safety. The project will improve the health of our urban forest while improving community pride and our sense of ownership of public space. Personally, this application makes me feel seen and heard, as city staff are showing that they have been listening to community input and have taken our expressed concerns about the Sligo Mill area seriously, as has the mayor and council." From the police department, the back-to-school backpack donation drive has begun. From July 15th through August 16th, bring your donation of new school supplies to the donation box in the police department lobby at 7500 Maple Avenue. Items needed include binders, loose leaf paper, scissors, pencils, pens, tissues, glue sticks, and much more. Help us make the first day of school exciting for all of our students. Don't forget that Montgomery County Tax-Free Week is August 11th through the 17th. A link will be available in tomorrow's posted city manager comments on the city website. And there's only 1 week left, slightly less than that, to wait for National Night Out, Tuesday, August 6th from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. at the Piney Branch Elementary School at 7510 Maple Avenue. There will be food, games, bounce houses, someone said a dunk tank, music, Maryland National Park police horses, and police vehicles on display. Be sure to stop by and get to know your local police department and your neighbors. From Public Works, the city managers authorized the installation of stop signs at Maple Avenue and Grant Avenue intersection. Installation expected to be done within the next week. Stop signs were also approved for the Garland Avenue and Davis Avenue intersection and are expected to be installed in the same time frame. From Recreation Department, Register for our traditional before care and after care for the upcoming 2024-2025 school year. We've been working behind the scenes, continuing to ensure the building and participants and staff are safe, while following the latest in state and local COVID guidelines as applicable. Program emphasis is on providing leisure and recreation programs utilizing our facilities while having lots of fun. There's a 20% deposit due at the time of registration. The remaining balance will be divided into monthly payments beginning October 1st. More information can be found on the city website. From the city clerk's office, as mentioned at the last city council meeting, we are recruiting for the fiscal year 24-25 Youth Council. The Youth Council was formed by the City Council to encourage youth participation in local government. 9 members are appointed annually. Youth Council members must be Tacoma Park residents in grades 7 through 12. They serve for 1 year, but are eligible to apply for reappointment. Members must attend meetings regularly, maintain at least a 2.5 grade point average, and set a positive example for youth in the community. Youth Council members are eligible for SSL hours or stipends. City Council will make appointments to the Youth Council in September. If interested, please apply by Friday, August 16th. More information on this can be found on the city website.
Before you go on, may I just say something?
Councilmember DeBala.
Please.
Thank you. And so renters can also apply. And so if there's anyone out there now who knows of a 7th through 12th grader who wants to apply, that'd be fabulous.
Thank you. And finally, from the city manager's office, a staff shout out from the finance department. We'd like to bring our accounting assistant, Tyler Brown, to your attention due to his exceptional performance and dedication to our city since 2021. During this time, Tyler has consistently demonstrated outstanding commitment to his work and has provided exemplary customer service to both internal and external stakeholders, customers. His dedication to his role is evident in his willingness to always go above and beyond to assist others. Tyler's primary responsibilities include managing accounts receivable, the annual stormwater management, rental license, and refuse billing processes with meticulous attention to detail. He also proactively assists with accounts payable functions, resolving issues promptly and preventing future discrepancies. Tyler played a key role in transitioning to digital document filing, significantly improving departmental efficiency and accuracy. Tyler also assists with year-end book closing and supports budget management by collecting crucial data for financial reports. In terms of educational and professional development, Tyler graduated summa cum laude with a bachelor's degree in finance and attended the Finance Software 2024 conference, gaining valuable insights. In recognition of his exceptional performance, dedication, and unwavering commitment to serving the city and its residents, we commend Tyler Brown for his outstanding contributions. And that concludes my report for this evening.
Thank
If
you.
you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, so we're going to move into our voting session for tonight. So the first item is the second reading ordinance approving the FY25 budget amendment number 1. Would someone like to move it?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilmember Small. Do I have a second? Thank you, Councilmember DeBala. Are there any points of discussion on this one? Just as a reminder, this has not changed since our first reading. Okay, all right, and given that we are hybrid this evening, would the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Fulcher,
Yes.
Councilmember DeBala,
Yes.
Councilmember Gibson,
Yes.
Councilmember Siemens,
Aye.
Councilmember Hanzak,
Yes.
Councilmember Small,
Aye.
Mayor Searcy.
Aye. Now, I would like to move that we vote to convene as a Stormwater Management Board.
So moved.
Thank
So
you,
moved.
Councilmember Fulcher and Councilmember Small for seconding. All those in favor of becoming the Stormwater Management Board, please say aye. Aye. Do I have any opposed? Any abstain? I need to fix that. All right, we are now the Stormwater Management Board. We're going to vote on the second reading ordinance approving the FY25 Stormwater Budget Amendment Number 1. Would someone like to move it?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilmember
Second.
Small. Thank you, Councilmember Honzak, for seconding.
Point of discussion. I'd just like to say that, in particular on this one, because this one kind of intersects with the big project spending, it's important for people to recognize that sometimes we don't know what something is going to cost, because a lot of costs get passed down to the municipal level in ways that we couldn't possibly imagine. So I just wanted to affirm the staff's work on these issues and hope that we're going to get closer and closer to not having this first budget amendment so soon.
Thank you, Councilmember Small. All right, and so will the clerk please call the roll on this one?
Councilmember Fulcher?
Aye.
Councilmember DeBala?
Yes.
Councilmember Gibson?
Yes.
Councilmember Siemens?
Aye.
Councilmember Honzak?
Yes.
Councilmember Small?
Aye.
Mayor Searcy?
Aye. Now we're going to vote on the second reading ordinance regarding the 2024 city election. Would someone like to move it? Thank you, Councilmember DeBala. Thank you, Councilmember Honzak, for seconding. Any points of discussion on this one?
Mayor?
Yes.
May I point out that I had recommended a small amendment to the ordinance to respond to questions that were asked at the meeting before. So on page 2, I'm recommending that you add, residents who register after September 27th may not receive a vote by mail ballot, but they can request one by submitting a form provided by the city clerk. And then to the next one, I've added at the beginning, to accommodate residents who cannot vote by mail or who are not yet registered, the Tacoma Park Community Center will be open on Election Day.
I would like to make a friendly amendment to incorporate the words of the esteemed clerk into our current amendment.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor of voting on the version amendment, amended, please say aye.
Aye.
Do we have any opposed? Any abstain? Okay, so we will be working off of the amended version that the clerk has provided. Councilmember DeBala.
Yeah, just very quickly, while we're on the subject of voter registration, would you be able to just run through where and when and how folks register?
Sure. To register with the state of Maryland, residents can register online if they have a state-issued ID. They can register by mailing in a document or in a voter registration form, or they can bring a voter registration form that is completed here, and I can mail it in for them. So that's how to register in the city. If you're not eligible or not interested in registering with the state of Maryland, you can register on a voter registration form that's provided, that's a special form that Tacoma Park provides for people who aren't eligible or who do not wish to register with the state. So that would include non-citizen residents as well. And of course, 16-year-olds can register with the state or with the city.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, are there any other points of discussion on this item? All right, so would the clerk please call the roll on the amended second reading ordinance setting forth the details of the 2024 city election?
Councilmember Fulcher?
Yes.
Councilmember DeBala?
Yes.
Councilmember Gibson?
Yes.
Councilmember Siemens?
Aye.
Councilmember Honzak?
Yes.
Councilmember Small?
Aye.
Mayor Searcy?
Aye. Okay, next item is a resolution on prevention of nuclear war back from the brink.
So moved.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember
Mayor,
Siemens, for
friendly
seconding.
amendment.
I would like to move an amendment
Oh, okay.
to strike in the first whereas, the first municipality in the country to become, and we will just keep, the city of Tacoma Park is a nuclear-free zone.
I accept your amendment too.
Thank you very much.
Mayor,
Council members.
I would like to change it to the city of Tacoma Park is one of the first municipalities.
Okay.
I accept that one too. That
One
one sounds
of the
better.
first, okay, all right.
I'll accept that one as well.
Among one of, all right, I'll work, that'll work too.
One of the first sounds nice.
Do you like among or one of better?
One
All
of the
right,
first.
all right.
We got it. All right, so I just taking back that amendment.
Yes, friendly
So
all the way to-
the language will now read: the city of Tacoma Park is one of the first municipalities in the country to become a nuclear-free zone.
Solid.
All right. So all those in favor of the amendment, please say aye.
Aye.
Do you have any opposed? Any abstain? All right. So given that we're hybrid, are there any other points of discussion? All right.
Just one. I just wanted to say that I really appreciate your thoughtfulness and dedication to this issue. To come in every week with a plaintive and clear direction is a lot better than people think, apparently. But you did a wonderful job, and I'm proud to have been associated with the process whereby you have been satisfied.
All right. Thank you, Councilmember Small. So are there any other points of discussion on this item? Seeing none, would the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Fulcher?
Yes.
Councilmember DeBala?
Yes.
Councilmember Gibson?
Yes.
Councilmember Siemens?
Aye.
Councilmember Honzak?
Yes.
Councilmember Small?
Aye.
Mayor Searcy?
Aye. And in addition to placing this item on the website, if we can try to add a little blurb on one of the call-outs that could highlight this as well as the proclamation earlier this year about the Nuclear Free Committee.
We will do that. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much. All right. Next item is the FY26 Budget Policy Resolution. Would someone like to move it?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilmember Fulcher.
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember DeBala, for seconding. Any points of discussion on this item?
I would like, as the person who originally started this, I would like to have a moment. So last year at this time, there were a number of issues that came up in the discussion of the budget that weren't able to be resolved then. And so it seemed important to document them in a resolution and ask the city staff to work with a subgroup of the council, follow through, get us some information and so forth. So when I reintroduced this in the spring, we hadn't heard yet from the working group. So now we have a couple weeks ago. And so I have narrowed the focus of this to be a follow-up to what the committee, what the working group suggested and what they recommended, because they covered a lot of the ground that originally I had wanted to have in the resolution. And so I worked with one member of the committee, of the working group, to narrow it. So what you see now does look different. It looks different for a reason. So I just want to say that. I understand there may be some interest on some council members' parts in having other topics introduced that are budget related but not part of the working group's recommendations. And so I'll leave that to those other folks, but I wanted to explain first what we were thinking, and let others take it from there.
Thank you, Councilmember DeBala, for sharing that. Councilmember Fulcher?
I'll defer to Gibson. You can go first.
Okay, Councilmember Gibson?
Yes, I was a member of the working group, and we did cover, as Councilmember DeBala said, other options, other ways. And indeed, our presentation 2 weeks ago included a recommendation with regard to addressing the expenditure side of our fiscal situation. So I would like to make a friendly motion, a very simple one that would fit in at any point, or at the end, I guess, of the amendment or the resolution submitted. It would read, support the staff's continuing efforts to assure balanced stewardship of city funds by reviewing expenditures to find greater efficiencies and to contain or reduce costs. I offer this as a way to show balance to the community and to staff that we're looking not only at revenue, but we're also looking at expenditures.
Thank you, Councilmember Gibson. I just want to make sure that we're all clear on what you are proposing. What you're proposing is to add another resolve clause.
No, just another bullet, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that would
Just-
be another aspect of the resolve.
Resolve or whereas? I'm sorry.
No, it would be part of the resolve.
Okay, thank you.
So it would
Oh,
be
wait.
another aspect of the resolve clause.
That's different than what I thought he said. I thought he was talking about at the end, because that sounds, I wouldn't regard that as friendly.
Well, I think that because, because this is adding a element to the now therefore be it resolved and those bullets
Yeah,
underneath,
well,
and it goes beyond, I believe, what the initial work group had provided in terms of the initial set of recommendations for the council's consideration. I wouldn't treat this as a friendly amendment. That I would treat this more as an actual motion. And I do see, and I want to just acknowledge Deputy City Manager Eubanks. I see your hand is raised.
Separate topic, Mayor. I can wait.
Okay. So Councilmember Gibson, if you would like to make your motion again.
Yeah, let me also clarify that this clearly was a part of the work, and it was a part of the presentation 2 weeks ago. So, but if you as the manager and as the mayor of managing this session, I will comply with your request. I would like to make a motion, and let me read again, to support, I guess, a motion. If I have to put it in slightly different language, let me see how it changes that, because I did believe that it belonged in. I guess we would put another, now therefore be it resolved as part of the fifth FY26 budget process, the city manager or designated staff advise the council of the following areas: the city's fiscal policy, bullet, support the staff's continuing efforts to assure balanced stewardship of city funds by reviewing expenditures to find greater efficiencies and to contain or reduce costs.
Okay. Yeah. So there's a motion on the floor for a second whereas call, second resolve.
I'll second his
clause.
motion.
Okay, Councilmember Small has seconded. Are there any points of discussion on this item? So Councilmember Fulcher, I see your light.
No, it's fine. I'm gonna pass on talking about it.
Okay. Councilmember DeBaller?
Yeah, I have a question, Councilmember Gibson. Where in the findings of the group that were presented 2 weeks ago, do you think this came up? Because the specific ones, I'm just trying to understand, because the specific ones about vehicle replacement policy and a couple of the other expenditure items are already in here.
It was a part of the presentation, slide presentation, and it was, I don't have it in front of me, but it is almost not necessary to tie it to that. I think it's more important to tie it to like I said, a recognition and an expression to the staff and to the community that we would like to look at a balance in our fiscal policies. But it was a part of the presentation 2 weeks ago.
So my view on this is that with the city management that we have now, there are a number of things that we asked for in the original last year because we had a different management in place and we had been through a different management that was less forthcoming about some of the budget items and was less disciplined about the fiscal aspects of city government. And so I'm not inclined to ask for something that I know already I'm getting. I guess is the way to put it, where I might have felt very differently the first time we did this, more than a year ago. So just to explain where I'm coming from. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Dabala. Councilmember Honzak?
I would be interested in hearing the city manager or the deputy city manager's interpretation of this and how it might impact on business as usual that you're already undertaking. And particularly hearing from you as our new manager coming in and seeing what you've been seeing. And I'm sorry, that's a big question, so if you're not ready to answer it right now, but I think it's really important. Thank you.
Well, and I don't have a draft in front of me of the proposed amendment. I think it's been read, but from what I've heard and understood, the emphasis is on committing staff to look at efficiencies. In various ways. Is that incorrect, Randy or Councilmember Gibson?
Efficiencies as a part of, a balanced fiscal process. Efficiencies and to review expenditures. Just basically, we're talking about saving money,
Given that is something that we have done, do, and will do, and plan to do, I don't have any objections to it.
Okay. Council Member Fulcher?
I think it's the efficiencies that I'm getting stuck on because I do not doubt in the efficiencies of our staff and how they're using our budget. If we're talking about expenditures, I don't think it's going to be a question of efficiencies. I think it's going to be a question of deciding what we can live without. I don't think that it's as simple as, we need to be more efficient how we're doing public works. I think that when there's going to be any budget cuts, it's going to be us living without something. And so I actually think it's efficiencies that's tripping me up here.
Thank you, Councilmember Fulcher. Councilmember Honzak?
I would also appreciate hearing, you just expressed yourself, Councilmember Fulcher, and I think it was Councilmember Siemens that was also on this committee. I would appreciate hearing from you whether you feel like this reflects the consensus of the committee and the discussion that you had. My understanding is that, this does read as efficiencies, but there had possibly been some discussions about trade-offs, but I'm not sure that was in the original mandate of the committee.
Right, I'm not sure about trade-offs either, but, we certainly talked about, ways to not only increase revenues, but also areas that we could reduce expenses. And I think of, some of the discussions around the emergency replacement reserve and street maintenance. Again, that was what we discussed as possible outcomes of reviewing those. And I don't recall the specific discussion about something that's been proposed by Councilmember Gibson. I'm kind of on the fence on this. I think I don't see any harm in asking the city manager to do this and have his staff, think about this as they do their work. But I'll just leave it at that. And I don't see harm in putting this in there.
Yeah. So my issue with this.
Mayor, one other comment, and that is that to a great extent, it gets into the policy piece that is not in the city manager's wheelhouse. So it's a nice way for the city council to try to kick something out of our place, but it's something that we should be talking about.
I agree with Councilmember Siemens that this is something that, in terms of policies, is something that we should be doing. I think one of the things that is tripping me up is the fact that, what is the deliverable that we're asking of staff? The resolve clause was written more from the perspective of, as part of the FY26 budget process, we want you to do these things, right? And bring them to us. I'm not sure, and maybe it's just a little loss in, us not having the exact language before us, what exactly we're asking staff to bring to us. I think that, is it just, hey, give us, tell us how you've looked at efficiencies? Staff are supposed to look at efficiencies as part of the budget process. So, again, I could see how, it's solidifying an expectation that council has for staff as they are doing the budget. But I am not exactly sure how or what a future council, keeping in mind that the FY26 budget will be discussed with the next council, would be able to interpret what this thing is in terms of efficiencies that we're asking staff to provide to the future council. So for me, it's a matter of clarity. Now, if we're just saying, hey, we want you to make sure that this is something you're doing as part of the process, yeah, we could just throw that in there. But it doesn't provide clarity for future councils on what they should be holding staff's feet to the fire to produce as part of the 26 budget process. Councilmember Small.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to say that for the good of the order, I did want to advance the motion and intend to call a question after I get done speaking, if that's possible. But
I'll call the question as the mayor.
Oh, okay. I didn't know
Yep.
how
Go
we
right
were
ahead
doing.
and ask your question.
Thank you, Guri. Can we talk about? I think the concern here is, and there are some structural things from beginning to end of this cycle of council that we still haven't necessarily seen come to fruition. And those things that they have some basis in the budget, but they also have some basis in some human resources things and some other stuff about how this place does its stuff. And I understand the desire that Randy has to make sure that we are saying something about the fact that at some point somebody needs to do these things and that this needs to start happening. But I'm reticent about the manner in which it would go into this document. Like, I feel like that's a whole other can of worms. Like, why aren't we XYZ? But those are like procedural, everyday things for these people to be doing, and not a declarative thing, in my opinion. So that's what I have to say about it.
Thank you, Councilmember Small. Councilmember Fulcher.
Couple things. I can really look at the bulleted points that are clear here, except possibly the last one about the new sources of revenue for the city, and directly reference the resolution that the working group was given to work from, and be like, oh, that's clearly from that part of the resolution, that's clearly, and I just don't see how the motion that's on the table reflects exactly what we were given to work with as a working group. And then the second thing that I'm gonna say is that, I don't like extra laws that tell people to follow the law. Like, I feel like we're passing a resolution that tells staff in the city manager's office to do their job, and like, they already know they have to do their job.
All right. Thank you so much, Councilmember Fulcher. Councilmember Honzak, did you have another point?
Yeah, just one other thing. I think I want to speak more, directly to what I understand, Councilmember Gibson. I feel like you might be trying to accomplish here through a variety of different avenues, which does not necessarily include the previous discussion that we had and what was agreed upon by the council to give to the working group. I feel like what I have heard is that that Councilmember Gibson, you are interested in seeing the city put before the council options to reduce costs or services, to reduce our overall costs. To me, this merits a discussion all unto itself, rather than dancing around it. It is a policy question, and I don't know how many resources would be required to do that. I'm not familiar, in fact, with the history of what the city has done over the last 5 years to ever look at that question. But I would want to have a more robust discussion as a council, I think, on that particular point. And I know that it's really important to you, Councilmember Gibson, and to a number of constituents in the city. I know that in my own ward, it's come up at a number of conversations we've had within our ward. So I don't want to dismiss it. I just think it's important that we achieve consensus as a council on what we're seeking to do with this particular resolution. So and that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Honzak. Councilmember Gibson?
I just want to say that the original charge resolution that we were given.
I'm so sorry, Councilmember Gibson, we're struggling to hear you a little bit. Can you?
I'm sorry, is that any better?
That is better. Thank you.
Okay, I got to lean into it. So sorry. I just want to say that the original resolution that formed the working group had as its one of its goals is to explore best practices in terms of the budget process. Right. And if reviewing and even supporting the staff as they review our expenditures and find ways to save money, to reduce costs, is not something that's appropriate, then you can vote against it. I basically put this as a placeholder and as a reminder that we do have two sides to our budget equation: expenditures and revenues, and we do not even mention expenditures in the current resolution. So please just vote what you think and your constituents want to hear. My constituents believe that this about a more balanced approach is needed.
Thank you, Councilmember Gibson. However, I will disagree with the statement that we do not mention expenditures in this resolution, in that a number of some of our major expenditure categories are noted here in terms of vehicle replacement, road maintenance, stormwater works. So I think that there's facilities. I think there's a lot of expenditure categories that are accounted for in this resolution. Now that we have a motion on the floor with the, I guess, given that we're a hybrid, well, I guess we could do this. All those in favor of the motion to add a resolve clause to the resolution? Councilmember Gibson, can you repeat the language of your clause?
Okay, I'm copying the resolution that we currently have, the first words. So it reads, just as you look on your sheet, and now therefore be it resolved that as part of the FY 2026 budget process, the city manager or designated staff advise the council on the following areas of the city's fiscal policy. And then the bullet is support the staff's continuing efforts to assure balanced stewardship of city funds by reviewing expenditures to find greater efficiencies and to contain or reduce costs.
Okay. All those in favor?
Previously provided that language to the city manager to.
Okay. All those in favor of I guess this is a bullet under the current, therefore be it resolved clause. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Nay. Any abstain?
Abstain.
Okay. Thank you so much. The motion does not move, so we are voting on the resolution, the unamended version of the resolution. So given that we've had discussion about this topic, would the clerk please call the roll?
Mayor, I do have just one request for a friendly amendment, if you don't mind.
Sure.
In the second to last bullet, beginning with identify, if we could change commercial properties to commercial market health. I think that would more appropriately get at what council's intent is.
Okay. So the next to the last bullet, identify indicators of commercial.
Oh, yeah.
Commercial market health.
So moved.
Okay.
My bad. I missed that one.
Okay. Thank you, Councilmember Hanzak, for moving. Do I have a second? Second. Thank you, Councilmember Small. All those in favor of that friendly amendment, please say aye.
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 Do you have any opposed? Any abstain? Okay, so will the clerk please call the roll on the amended version of the resolution?
Councilmember Fulcher,
Yes.
Councilmember Dubala,
Yes.
Councilmember Gibson,
Yes.
Councilmember Siemens.
Aye.
Councilmember Hanzak,
Aye.
Councilmember Small.
Aye.
Mayor Searcy.
Aye. All right. Drum roll, please. Last item for the evening is a resolution setting forth the dates for the council's summer recess.
So moved.
Thank you, Councilmember Small. Do I have a second? Thank you, Councilmember Fulcher. Actually, do we need to call the roll? Stick to our rule?
Councilmember Fulcher. Yes. Councilmember Dubala,
Yes.
Councilmember Gibson,
Yes.
Councilmember Siemens,
Aye.
Councilmember Hanzak,
Aye.
Councilmember Small,
Aye.
Mayor Searcy.
Yes. All right. Well, that is the last item on the agenda for this evening. I hope everyone have a fantastic recess. And thank you all and have a good night.